that is in my spirit, and that is God is at the point that the tares are going to be separated from the wheat. Let me tell you, this is a shape up and get ready to ship out time. I believe God's coming. I don't doubt it. He's sending warnings. He has spoken my spirit time and time again, especially now more than ever these past few months, to keep your eyes on Him. He's going to soon appear. He's still coming. Don't doubt Him. Trust in Him. He says, lean on my own understanding. Lean on my wisdom, for I am coming. It is near, says God. Keep looking. Keep pressing, because I am coming. Let me tell you, the heat might get hot. The trials might get hard. But it's going to be worth it. But I'm telling you right now, in the middle of all this, God's tired of playing games. He's tired of Christians playing games. He's tired of churches playing games. And now, more than ever, you better be careful about who you're sitting under, what church you're going to, and who's in your inner circle. It matters. It matters who's in your inner circle. And the reason why it matters is if we go into Matthew 13 and we talk about the tares from the wheat, Jesus is given this parable. And so during harvest, before the harvest time was near, there was a farmer that went out and he planted the wheat. And the wheat is the good seed. And sometime in the middle of the night, somebody else coming and he planted the tares. And the tares are seen as evil. But the tares, even though the farmer wanted to remove them, he was instructed not to remove those tares, because those tares were growing with the wheat, and if they were removed before harvest time, the wheat would have been no good. It would have been destroyed. And so they had to wait, and after harvest time, the wheat was stored safely in the barn, and the tares were to be gathered in bundles and burned. Let me tell you something. Wheat and tares look alike. That is significant of how the enemy comes and he imitates. He sends people to imitate. He sends people on his behalf to try to look like the Lord, to try to act like the Lord. But in the end, you're going to know which one is which. Let me tell you, right now on the earth, there's saved and unsaved. And these people were allowed to grow together. But at the end, glory be to God, the righteous is going to be separated from the unrighteous. We have a choice right now. We have a choice of whether we want to be a wheat or we want to be a tare. We have a choice of whether we want the wheat to be in our inner circle or the tare, because good seed might grow with the bad seed, but when harvest time is here, that bad seed's got to go. It's what it says, you reap what you sow. And it's significant about how it says that the tares had to be burned, because I know that there's people out there, there's probably the 2,200 friends I got, I know that there's got to be people on my page that's not saved. There's got to be people that don't believe. But my Bible tells me, King James, that there's a heaven to gain and there's a hell to shun. And I'm going to be, there's going to be times that I'm going to continue to be persecuted. And I've been persecuted and I've been made fun of. And I've been, told to sit down and shut up. But come Judgment Day, these people are going to say, why didn't we listen? And it's going to be too late. And so I'm just saying right now, God he's tired. He's tired of playing games. He is saying right now, we've got to get our focus on Him. He's a restoring God. He's a loving God. He's a just God, but He is also a God of judgment. And the biggest problem between us and true deliverance and learning how to live holy and learning how to live the best of our ability as Christians, it's not other people, it's not the enemy, it's ourselves. It's ourselves. We can't waste our time anymore and our energy trying to fight the enemy or trying to fight anyone that he's using We have got to get down on our knees, and we've got to pray, and we've got to seek God's will, and we've got to seek His face. Growing is not easy. Growing for the farmers during harvest, during farming, it's not easy for them. There's bumps along the way. There's trials along the way. But come harvest time, it's going to be worth it all if you're the wheat that you're supposed to be. Growing is not easy. I have so many people that I try to encourage and I try to lift up. And they say, Kimberly, I want to grow in the Lord, or I want this anointing. And then you sit down and you try to tell them things that's going to come. Oh, I don't want to go through that. Growing pains are not easy. They are tough, but they are necessary. And I'm telling you, if you will seek God's face and you'll truly push into Him every day, you'll learn that as you continue to grow, these problems that used to take years to get over will then take months, and then suddenly it'll be weeks, and suddenly that stress, you'll get over it in a matter of days, and then hours, and then even minutes and seconds. Those trials and growing is not going to end this side of glory. But it's worth it. It's worth it to not stay stagnant, in my opinion. Yes, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to make it. They're going to make it by the skin of their teeth. They might be a surface Christian. That's all well and good, because the only thing that's going to get you to heaven is salvation through Jesus Christ. But I know I was set apart and called more to do than be a surface Christian. 11 years ago, God got a hold of me at a women's conference in North Carolina, and I was born and raised Pentecostal. But I'm going to tell you that night, something changed in me. Kimberly McDaniel learned what it meant to live sanctified and to live holy and to live set apart. I'm ending this, and God's taking me back to Noah and his family. Noah was set apart to do a purpose, even though he was made fun of, and even though people was like, it's not going to rain, you're a liar. Let me tell you something. They had a chance to get on that ark, and they blew it. And in the end, the only people on that ark was Noah and his family. Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives. God protected him. But what God showed me is during that time, Noah and his family, all they had was to rely on God, that God was going to protect them. Yes, it talks about it. There was a window in the top and there was a door, but I believe that window was more of a hatch. It don't talk about the window during the flood. It don't mention the window till after the flood, the 40 days and 40 nights, when He opened it to let out the raven and then the dove to see if the waters receded. But if it would have been a normal window that He could have seen through, He wouldn't have needed to send them doves, that raven and that dove out. I'm telling you, he and his family was shut in with God during that flood, and they were not focused on anything that was going on around them. And that's what God's trying to get at. You better get shut in with Him, and you better get shut out from this worldly influence and this worldly way. If you're trying to repair a relationship with a sincere Christian, that's different. But if you're wasting time and energy trying to repair a relationship with somebody who don't know Jesus and has no desire whatsoever to know Jesus, you need to get away from that. You can still love them and you can still pray for them. But when you're unequally yoked like that, family or not family, the enemy is going to use that person to keep you down, to keep you discouraged, to keep you from growing. And God's saying, I'm here to set my children apart. He's here. And this wheat from the tare thing is so strong in my spirit. It matters who you listen to. It matters who you sit by. And it matters who you sit under. And so, this may not be one of those uplifting, encouraging words that people want to hear, but it's what you need to hear in this hour. God is about to wind this thing down. Yes, I've heard it almost 38 years, but it don't make me believe it any less. I'm one day closer to Him. But I'm going to tell you, I'm at that time in my life, I'm not going to sit around and I'm not going to entertain feuding or fussing or fighting or anything that's not getting people to heaven. I want to stay focused on Christ. I want to do my best to strive to stay Christ-like. I want to witness. I want to do what I can and not waste my time and energy on things that aren't important. I want to be that wheat. I want to stay righteous. I want to stay in God's will. Yes, I struggle. Yes, I have my bad days. And yes, there's going to be people that's going to tell me hush. But you know what? I've not been called to hush. God has set me apart. He set me apart a long time ago. And so I'm telling you today, Get in the Word. Get in a church that's biblically based and biblically accurate. And if you and you know, it's important for a preacher to get up and still preach that sin, and that hell is real. Because this getting up there and preaching that it's all sunshine and roses and never preaching on sin and only preaching on the good things, I'm gonna tell you, we need those tough words. We need those challenging messages just as much as we need those encouraging messages. We need those stomp on my toes message. I want to be kept in check. I want to know that I'm growing. And like I said, God, He's tired of playing games. But there is a wheat and a tare that's being separated right now in the spiritual realm. I feel that so strongly. But God's still here. He's still here. And His Son's still here to save you. And you're not too far gone. And somebody needs to be reminded of that in this very hour. He's still a saving God. He's still a healing God. He's still a restoring God. Come to Him. You're not past the point of salvation. You have not done something to where you can't be forgiven. The enemy's lying to you right now in this hour. Somebody's listening to this and God's saying, come back to me or come to me for the first time. I'm here with open arms. I love y'all and y'all be blessed.